System Shock is one of the most down-to-earth remakes I have ever played. It is so consistent to the point where you question, why was this remake even made? Now I know a lot of people love this remake, specifically the people that have already played the original, but the thing with a remake is you remake it while also trying to fix some of the flaws it had back in whenever this came out. I think it was like 1990 or something, the original came out. But they've been so consistent with it, where they've forgotten to fix the flaws, and from the gameplay I've seen, I haven't played the original, but from the gameplay I have seen, it seems like the flaws in this remake, there's even more of them. I usually cover classic games, okay? I don't call them retro because classic games to me now are PS2 games, you know, PS2, PS1. Anything further back that enters retro territory, which is why I don't call my reviews retrospectives. I mean, this is the kind of game where you've got to be locked in, you've got to not have a drink, you've got to not be at work, and you've got to play this for like 5-6 hours consistently to actually beat one of the levels. And the puzzles, my god, they're procedurally generated, so it's really tough sometimes. I mean, I'm not going to complain, I like difficult games, but there gets to a point where if I'm tearing my fucking hair out over it, it makes you question, why am I playing this? I'm not having fun, so why do I keep going? Now, admittedly, I didn't complete it, okay? I'm gonna make a review, but I haven't completed it, but there is a very good reason as to why that is. System Shock opens up with a very atmospheric intro. Set in this like cyberpunk era, you are some sort of hacker, and you get caught hacking into the wrong place. And when you hack into the wrong place, you don't get arrested in these games. You get tasked with helping the people you were trying to hack. Now, of course, you end up on some sort of futuristic ship. It's very Alien in a sense. If you've watched Alien, it feels very old school but with a little modern twist to it. It's very consistent to the original's vision while also updating the visuals to match modern day standards, a remake. But that's where you get lost in this game. The problem I have with System Shock, and there are a few, we'll get into them, is that I really don't feel like I'm going anywhere. There is no objective waypoint, and I'm not asking to have my hand held. You'll spend most of your time in this game walking around the same areas, trying to find where to go, what is the next objective. And in a sense, that is kind of System Shock's biggest positive. System Shock is the kind of game you're not going to get from many places. It's very unique. It feels like it's from 30-40 years ago, for good and for bad. But because it feels like that, there's no other game right now out there like this that has recently released. So let's talk about the good stuff before I get even further into the bad stuff. First off, the atmosphere, as I've said, is fantastic. It's probably the best bit of System Shock, the entire thing. It's the best bit. Walking around these very tight areas, trying to figure out where you're meant to go, remembering locations, remembering keycards, remembering details from things you've picked up. It is very immersive. And you need it to be immersive because that is the only way you're going to progress in System Shock Remake. A lot of people are not going to enjoy that, and I totally understand. I'm one of those people. I love immersive stuff, okay? I absolutely love it, but when I have to rely on reading every little note, listening to every voice log to figure out where I'm meant to go without spending 6 hours in one area, it becomes tedious, it gets annoying, and to be brutally honest with you, it kind of ruined the game for me. If I was a full-on betting man, I would bet that most people, the majority of people, would not enjoy this game because of how locked in you have to be. This is not a relaxing game. You're not going to relax. You're going to be immersed. You're going to be tense. You're going to be stressed. You're going to be stressed because you're going to be walking around feeling like you're wasting your time. That said though, there is plenty of enemy variety and weapon variety, but the enemy variety, all of them are dumb. They're just dumb. When you do get weapons, they do feel pretty good. You know, you get the bullet weapons and you get energy weapons. And each type of weapon is better for specific enemies. You're going to find yourself locked in corners, fighting off 2 different types of enemies, and you're going to die. You're going to die consistently. And it's going to get frustrating. But as much as I really do like the weapon variety, the enemy variety, it feels very shit to use them. It feels like this. Boom. Did you feel that? You didn't feel it, did you? Let me try again. Boom. Didn't feel that, did you? Boom. That's what it feels like, and it doesn't feel good to use at all. So all my positives well, I don't have many positives at all, to be honest with you, but even with those positives, I have flaws with them. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying. This is why I don't really like System Shock Remake, is that it's too consistent with its original. This remake was meant to improve things. It was meant to modernize certain aspects without losing System Shock's identity. And they definitely didn't lose the identity. But as a modern gamer, I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't really enjoy many of the aspects that I believe are positive. But that doesn't mean other people won't enjoy them. I feel like I'm repeating myself now. But that's just the way it is. This game is so hard to talk about. But, you know me. I've got to be honest, and I'm sorry to the developers. I appreciate the review copy, I really do, but I'm going to have to go into negatives now, and it's going to be very depressing. First off, I love the layout of the ship, but it's so boring to explore. Everything does look the same. I know some people think it doesn't, but to me it does. Everything is dark, you turn on a light, you walk into a room, there's a dead body, you go check the body, you get some information detail for your plot line or your next objective, and then off you go. And then there's enemies there, and you do it again and again and again and again and again, which just gets very tedious. Then you have the puzzles. Oh my god. Procedurally generated puzzles. I respect them putting them in, and I respect them not making it easy, but my god, these puzzles will have you tearing your hair out. It is ridiculously boring. Now, I like a good puzzle, but I don't like doing the same puzzle with different variations for 15 hours. You know what I mean? That is the problem with these puzzles. I don't mind that they're difficult. I hate the fact they're all the same. You have to line up specific energy points so the energy can flow, and then you're sorted. That's it, you open the door. Doing it once or twice, like, yeah, that was really fun. I can't wait to see what they do with that's a bit more creative, but they don't get any more creative. It's the same thing, over and over and over again. And that's a good segue to get into the combat. Like I said earlier, I like the weapon variety, I like the enemy variety, but it all plays the same. Every encounter is the same. You go in, you've got your wrench, you hit the wrench, you boop 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 guys, then you shoot guys, and then you do it again and again and again and again, while walking into the samey rooms with the samey objectives, with the samey exploration. It's the same over and over again. I do like the fact that you can find these upgrades that you get naturally. You can actually miss a ton of upgrades, and it can be punishing if you go to the wrong area without the upgrade. But I like the fact that you explore it naturally and you unlock those upgrades, and it's a reward for actually exploring this area. But then again, if you don't get the upgrades, the game's going to get harder and harder, and I found that out pretty quick. There's a couple weapons that I didn't even get to use that I've seen in gameplay, and I'm like, wow, I would have really liked to have that, but I completely missed it despite exploring the same area like 10 times. It gets very, very annoying. And yet, I can still see tons of people enjoying this. You also get these like mini games where you go into this like digital computer or whatever, and you take the viewpoint of some sort of pixel, and you go through these areas to unlock security gates, security doors, and all that stuff. And at first, it's like the puzzles. I really enjoyed it at first, like, wow, this is pretty fun. I can't wait to see what they do a little later on to get a bit more creative. But it never happens. You do the same thing over and over and over again. And that is the biggest problem with System Shock. It's repetitive. Now, I play a lot of Ubisoft games, okay? You guys know that if you've been on the channel for a while. So I'm used to my games being repetitive. I mean, I'm going through the entire Assassin's Creed franchise at the minute. So I'm used to it. So when I say that I was even getting sick of the repetitive nature of System Shock, you know it's repetitive, you know what I'm saying? And yet, despite all of these flaws, I still see why people enjoy it. System Shock Remake was designed for the original's fans, okay? This game was made for the fans of the original. It wasn't made for new people. It wasn't made to be more inviting to other players, newer players, okay? That's what you've got to know. But to sum this video up, if you're a fan of the original, you're gonna love this. You're going to love System Shock Remake. But if you're new to it and you've never played it before like myself, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle to get involved. You're gonna struggle to enjoy yourself, and you're gonna be stressed out. So I can't really recommend it, unfortunately. Now, once again, thank you to for the review code. But for me, I just didn't enjoy it enough to even complete it, and that's saying something. Like I was saying earlier, this is just my opinion, okay? I could be completely wrong. The general consensus could be very different to my opinion on it. Not enough was changed, not enough was improved upon, and the only major change was the visuals, unfortunately. This game was clearly made by passionate developers, people who know what they're doing, but it just was not for me. Thank you all for watching, I really appreciate it. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the video, and stick around for some more content coming. Probably not at the weekend, I'm going to Skegness. Thank you though, cheerio.